Hello friends, welcome to a new video. I used to share a lot of behind the scenes type of videos where I showed you how I actually set up photo shoots. I haven't done that in a while, and today Raymond and I are playing around with a new lens, which you'll see that video in the future, and we also have some new lighting that we are using. We're filming in the field, and so in this video I wanted to share with you this whole process, how we're setting up shooting video and photos in the field with this new lighting, using this new lens, and coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, this video is sponsored by COLBOR, who are making the lights that we are using today. So I will share a lot about the lights, but also how exactly we are setting them up and how we're setting our cameras up to orchestrate this entire morning of filming and still photos. A quick note on sponsors. I only accept sponsored projects from companies that I actually like and that I think will be useful for you. That being the case, if I didn't like these lights, I would have sent them back and canceled the project. The COLBOR CL220 lights have exceeded my expectations in terms of power, flexibility, and ease of use. You can find a link to these lights in the description of this video. The CL220 lights that we have here are LED continuous lights. The 220 stands for 220 watts, meaning that it outputs the equivalent of 220 watts, and it will maintain that throughout its color temperature range of 2700 to 6500 degrees Kelvin. What that means in practical terms for Raymond and I today is that these lights put out a ton of light and have the flexibility of adjusting the color temperature to match the ambient light, all so that we can offset the bright, harsh sunlight, as well as match that sunlight so that the lighting in the photos looks natural. Raymond, quick take. You set up the lights this morning for the first time. What do you think?
Well, I have good news. It didn't take very long. We kind of easily figured out what connected to what and how it all went together. And we did not read the instructions in any way, which we probably should have, but we got to figure it out. We're working quickly, and I think we're going to have a good shoot. And just looking, after turning them on and looking at what we get with the battery, it seems like it's going to be perfectly bright enough with the two lights here to balance you in the shadows with the ambient light in the environment. But we'll find out.
The batteries that Raymond and I mentioned are these COLBOR 99 Pro V-mount batteries, which you can purchase separately. My favorite thing about these is that they have a display on them to show you how much power you have left. Plus, they're easy to charge with a USB-C cable. You just plug it right into the battery itself. One thing that, we were just talking about is that we do have softboxes. I have a giant size softbox and a much smaller softbox. I've got a grid to go over the softbox. The softbox can behave just as a big reflector. I don't think we're going to need them this morning, at least for the video shoot. Maybe for some of the photos if we go over into the shade. I initially thought it was going to be very cloudy out, and those softboxes would have made a lot more sense if it was super cloudy, but because there is so much harsh light right now, I don't even think we need the softboxes. We just need a bunch of light coming at me and Raymond, if I can talk him into being a model for a little bit. And yeah, so let's go. For power, our main light was set at 45% and the second light hovered around 30 to 35%, but Raymond did turn it off sometimes. For color temperature, Raymond had the lights both on about 5,000 degrees Kelvin and the camera set on sunny white balance. We're going to use these trees here as a background and for me to lean on, and we are only using one light right now.
Well,
we might
freestyle.
Yeah, but this one is on for right now. We've positioned me, because the sun is pretty harsh right now, we've positioned me so that I'm in the shade of the tree, but then using the light to balance out everything so that the background isn't blown out.
These are putting out a tremendous amount of light.
Yeah.
Even with the lower output that you get when you're exclusively on battery.
Yeah, you get about half of the power on battery.
It's ridiculous. It's actually, I was a little bit concerned to be honest, because we've used a lot of lights outside and some can do it and some can't.
Yeah.
These can do it.
Yeah. And so far, battery life, doing great. All right, let's get to shooting. You just saw a couple of these photos, but in this video, you can really see how much light is on my face. I am absolutely in the shadow of the tree, but my face is illuminated. This is important because if we were to have tried to use natural light only with me in the shadow of the tree, we would have had to brighten exposure across the frame to make sure my face wasn't in shadow. We would have ended up with an overexposed background. I'll show you the actual difference between having the lights on and off in just a minute. Time to shoot some video. Raymond allowed me a sum total of 1 photo of him, but he did humor me by allowing me to put some flowers behind his ear. So anyway, we've moved a little bit. We are setting up for some video, and that's it. Still, battery life, doing really good on the lights. So we're gonna use we've been using, I don't think I mentioned this, we've been using the Nikon Z7 and let me show, the Viltrox 75mm f1.2 Z-mount lens. This is an autofocus lens. As we're shooting this, it hasn't been introduced yet, but it will be by the time this gets posted. And it's doing a great job so far. It is an APS-C lens, so we are using the APS-C portion of the Nikon Z7, but plenty of megapixels, not a problem. And this is a good lens. So far as we can tell. It is f1.2, which is pretty awesome, especially in an APS-C lens. You just don't see that very often. So it's a good heavy lens too. So, okay, there's a whole other video about that lens. So let's just get to shooting some video. POV, the model. Raymond's setting up for video. I've got the 2 lights, which we just turn off in between shooting so that we aren't wasting battery power. And here's what the video looks like coming out of the Z7. We did have to add a neutral density filter to the lens so that we could use the aperture and shutter speed that we wanted while keeping me illuminated with the COLBOR lights. Photography is always a balance, but in the field shooting video where you have no control over the elements, for example, here we needed enough light on me to balance out the light in the background. Then we needed to add a neutral density filter to the lens to use the camera settings needed to maintain a relatively shallow depth of field. Okay, here's where Raymond came over and turned off one light and then the other light so that you can see the difference in the scene. Let's take a look at that from the other camera's perspective. Both lights on, one light off, both lights off. And then we packed up and got out of there because it was getting hot. I do want to point out the nice carrying cases the lights and the softboxes come in. You saw them earlier in the video, but they deserve a specific mention. It simply makes the shoot go so much more smoothly when everything has its own place. All right, I'm back in the studio. I have the lights in the studio here. I have a couple of light stands that are just begging to put lights on them, and I have a whole other video to film right now. So I'm going to set up the COLBOR lights as my studio lights because, we didn't use the softboxes out in the field, so I'm going to use the softboxes. I'm going to plug the lights in so that way I can use full power. And I'm going to see how these things do in my big studio space. Like I said before, these lights are just easy to set up. I don't believe that I mentioned that the lights have a universal Bowens mount so that you can use modifiers from different brands. I have here 2 softboxes by COLBOR, the BP90 and the BP65. You can use them without anything on the front. You can use them with the diffusion fabric on the front. And they both do come with a grid so that you can achieve a more focused beam of light. You can see that I did not have the lights anywhere near full power, and I achieved the bright, even look that I typically use for my videos. You can see me looking at my monitor and being surprised that the scene was as bright as it was without the lights being on full power. I like continuous lights like these in general for the same reason that a lot of other folks like them. You can use them for filming video, and when shooting stills, you can see the light and the shadow that you have on your scene and the color temperature situation without ever taking a photo. The CL220s put out a tremendous amount of light, and the color temperature range is broad enough that I can balance out the light whether I am outside or here in my studio but using some natural window light, or here with no supplemental lighting. So if you are looking for a set of continuous studio lights, definitely give these a look. Remember to check the description of this video for a link to these lights and the softboxes as well. And that's it for today. Thank you to COLBOR for supporting this channel, and thank you for watching.
I don't think.
I do.
Will it fit that lens?
Yep, I made sure that I brought everything that would fit. In fact, I think that's an 82 millimeter
Oh, there's a little lizard.
filter size. Ooh, lizard.
Lizard.
Where is he?
Down there, little critter.
Oh, it's a horny toad.
Horny toad.
Look, everybody. Uh-oh. Come back, buddy. Come back. Where'd he go? Oh, yeah. There he is. Oh. Here, let's see if we can sneak up on him. You stay where you are, Trippy.
Turn the lights back out.
Oh, hi, buddy. Where is he? Do you see him, everyone? Hi, sweetie. Will you move so he moves?
You want me to move?
Yeah.
I go that way.
Hi. Hi, buddy.